Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we've got 5 decks for you, but not just any 5 decks. We've got 5 decks that have cleared infinity borders. Some of them run Rocket and Groot, run Lasher, run Galacta if you're looking to clear weekend missions. But we're going to kick it off with this wonderful list from our friend JD McDonaldino. JD did put Rocket and Groot into his version of the Doom 2099 list. And mind-bogglingly, JD Mack has cut Sandman from it. He's like the biggest Sandman stan around at this side of FaThorNewman, but he's cut Sandman. Instead, he's running a Rocket and Groot like a sort of cheaper package that goes with the cheese package of Storm Legion Infinite, War Machine Legion Infinite, while also having the power of Doom 2099, Doctor Doom, Iron Lad for consistency. This list is very, very powerful, and JD McDonaldino went 13-3 on the Infinite Conquest with it. You can find JD streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/JD McDonaldino. This deck needs 3 high series cards. It needs Zabu, Doom, and War Machine. If you don't have Legion, you can't do Legion Scam, right? You can't do the play where Zabu or Psylocke lets you go Storm or War Machine on turn 3, then you play the other of those two on turn 4, and then you play Legion on the Flooding on turn 5 in order to lock the opponent out, and you can still play on turn 6, which is basically an auto win. Your opponent will auto retreat at that point unless, I don't know, they have a Super Scroll or something. So if you can play the list without Legion, it loses that play line. But if you don't have it, you can use Vision or Claw, and those are just more powerful or extremely powerful cards in general. Vision is sort of power crept away from the meta right now. A lot of what Rocket and Groot is doing right now is very similar to Vision, except Rocket and Groot get similar power for 2 less energy, and 2 less energy is a ton. So that's where we are for that card. Rocket and Groot, however, is already in the list. If you don't have Iron Lad, you can run Jubilee as a similar consistency piece. The other options are you can throw Galacta in for some power, or you can run the Vision Claw group. If you don't have Rocket and Groot, you don't need it for this list. You can run Luke Cage. US Agent is often a big problem for this type of list. Luke handles that. And Copycat can be Negasonic or Hydra Bob. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Ebony Maw, but I only really play Ebony Maw if I have Doom 2099 or War Machine already. Turn 2 is generally speaking Psylocke. Zabu is still fine. Ebony Maw is still fine. Turn 3, if you can get out of 4, that is your goal. You want to play War Machine or Storm if you have their combo. If not, Doom 2099 is better than Lad, is better than Rocket and Groot. Turn 4 is the exact same general thing as 3. Continue your Storm War Machine combo, or play the Doom, Lad, or Rocket and Groot in that order. Turn 5, if you haven't played War Machine yet, please play War Machine. If you have played War Machine, it's often Legion. It's also perfectly fine to be an Iron Lad at that point. Turn 6 is Infinite or Doom. If you got that War Machine out, you drop Infinite. You've now got a ridiculously unbeatable lane along with your other very powerful Doom 2099 lanes, which is usually enough to win. Or you can play Doom proper and then get the like 9 power Doom bots out. Either way works fine. Cool. Safety brought back One Piece, which we're going to talk about next, but one last look at this. If you're looking for a way to play Doom 2099, if you still like that card, if you want Rocket and Groot and to see how this works together, this is one of the better and more powerful lists for Conquest and a wonderful list to complete your weekend missions. If you want plenty of wonderful lists, please do hit that sub button as you try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. We need your support, and in return, we're going to give you 7 or 8 videos a week almost every single week. We haven't missed a day in well over a year. It's been over a year and a half now. I think in 3 months, it'll be 2 years of 0 days of missed videos, at least 3 brand new decks every single day. Today, we've got 6 exclusive decks for you. Hit that sub. And you have a chance to win Iron Patriot, the season pass card for the new season on this video. All you have to do is hit sub, like, and then later this video, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. You leave that comment, and someone who comments will be given an Iron Patriot. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Safety Blade is one of the best deck builders in the game. We literally featured one of his decks yesterday. Well, he came up with another. He decided that Lasher would be really, really great in the One Piece. The One Piece is Safety's Namora deck. When Namora was first data mined, many people, or when Namora was first released even, many people will not remember this, but people thought she was going to be bad. Everyone assumed she was going to be bad, except Safety, who basically came up with this deck almost immediately. He does a lot of Ravonna shells and often had a bunch of old White Tiger stuff. Well, he added Namora, i.e. the one piece to the deck to make it work, and all of a sudden the list really, really took off. Doom 2099 might be the new hotness, the card everyone talks about, but Wong and White Tiger puts an absolute ton of power on the board. Wong, White Tiger, Odin, especially powerful there. In addition, you have the silly shenanigans of being able to buff Lasher 3 different ways with Agony, Ironheart, and Namora, potentially more than once with the Wong thing, and you can choose when to trigger it because it's activate, often giving opponents like -8, while you have a 2/8 that ends up playing for a 216-ish of power, which is absolutely insane. You can get the really, really big Cassandra Nova shenanigans, the really big Sage shenanigans with Wong/Odin. You can put +10 on cards with Namora, spread tigers all over the board. This deck has an absolute ton of plays. It feels like this shouldn't be as good as it is, and then you play it and you're just like, oh, this is what it's supposed to do. You can find Safety at twitch.tv/safetyblade, streaming this and many other brilliant decks. This deck needs Namora and Ravonna. You don't really need any other high series cards to play this. If you don't have Agony, you would run Nightcrawler. You lose a buff, but what Nightcrawler does is it allows you to move in and out of lanes so that Namora can get her trigger. Lasher could be Scorpion, Medusa, or Jeff for similar reasons as the Nightcrawler. Cassandra Nova can be Rocket and Groot, Copycat, Red Guardian, etc. Cassandra Nova is actually really rough to replace here. Not because she's so amazing, but because she often costs 2 when you have she costs 2 when you have Ravonna out, and that's very powerful. And she's a really good 3-on-3. There's not many other good 3s-on-3s that are also Ravonna affected. Sage can be Wolfsbane. That is your last turn of the gameplay. You're almost never playing Sage outside of that last turn. Once in a while, you'll end up playing her on turn 5, but generally speaking, she's last turn of the game. There is a rare but potential play pattern where you go Ironheart, Cassandra, and Sage on the last turn of the game, which is very, very strong. And Iron Lad can be Gwenpool or Galacta. Those are high series cards as replacements, but they are absolutely incredible. In particular, Galacta's, I think right now, probably the best card in Marvel Snap. It's Galacta or Wiccan. I'm pretty sure it's between those two. All right. So this list, again, won an infinity border. That's a thing we're going to be saying a lot today. Every deck in today's video won an infinity border. Turn 1, you want Agony or Echo. What you're using Echo for is, I don't know if you realize this or it's come to your part of the meta, but there's a lot of Kitty Galacta decks around, Kitty Hope Galacta decks, and there's these smaller decks that are running at max 3 cost cards that are running like Juggernaut and stuff. Both of those shells are often running Cosmo. Which means that you want Echo, so you can plant Echo in your Wong lane. You're going to lose 1 on reveal card there, but it ends up worth it because then you actually get to use your Wong. So turn 1 is Agony or Echo. Turn 2 is Ravonna over a 1-drop. You can drop Lasher on Agony if you have Ironheart or Namora. A 6-power Lasher is completely silly. You don't usually want to play Ironheart on 3, though. Turn 3 is still Ravonna over Cassandra. Getting Ravonna out is important enough for your curve that you will spend turn 3 on that. You can play Ironheart on a lane alone or on that Echo if you know you're going to Wong or Odin on top of it. You can often drop Ironheart, then go Wong, and then play a card elsewhere, and then drop Odin on that Ironheart. And you can do that on Echo as well if you're worried about a Cosmo. You should know what your opponent's playing or have some clue by around turn 3. Turn 4, if they haven't played anything till turn 3, they're very often going to be like a Surfer or a Doom deck, and those aren't really running Cosmo, so you should be safe. Cool. Turn 4, you want Wong over Iron Lad over White Tiger. You can play White Tiger on 4 sometimes with that Ravonna. You don't usually want to, but it is a fine play. Wong is your main goal here. Turn 5, you want Namora, assuming you've set up your locations right and nothing has messed up, or White Tiger, and White Tiger is usually on Wong, but honestly, playing a 9-power White Tiger isn't the worst thing in the world. Turn 6 is Odin, or you can play Sage and Ironheart, or Sage, Cassandra, and Ironheart, as the case may be, and that's how you end the game. Cool. This is, again, a very strong list. This is one of my favorite lists in... Don't know what that was. This is one of my favorite lists in all of Marvel Snap. It is incredibly strong and consistent. I'm very, very happy to see it back. I missed it very, very much. We're going to look at a budget list next, but first, I'm just going to let you know I stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/pulseglazer. Sometimes I stream here on YouTube, but I'm streaming at least 4 nights a week over on Twitch. If you're interested, please do check it out. And our season pass question, which we always combine that with the streaming announcement, is what avatar do you want a border for / which avatar is your favorite? That's our question for the season pass. All you have to do is comment your answer right here on YouTube, and you're entered to win. And please do check out a stream. We'll be doing some giveaways and some cool stuff over there relatively soon as well. I should be streaming later today. Tomorrow is my father and niece's birthday, so it's unlikely I stream Saturday, but we should have, a podcast and an extra video out for you instead. All right, next up we have Owie Hulks. This is our budget list of the day. This is an incredibly strong list that is not hard to get to. I really want Rocket and Groot in this list. I think Rocket and Groot plus Nebula is insanely strong, but hey, look, it's a Bruce list. I think we actually have a list for every card this month except Luna Snow. Luna is very good in some shells, but she has been, even including Bruce, my least successful card this month. You can find Owie at twitch.tv/Owie. Owie speaks French largely, but Marvel Snap is the universal language. This deck needs High Evolutionary and Red Hulk. You can maybe do without Red Hulk if you can figure out another 6-drop. You can try Magneto. It's not going to be as good. You kind of want the extra power off Red Hulk here. Bruce can be Hope, Red Guardian. Bruce can be kind of whatever you would like it to be. He's good here, but he's not important. When he transforms, you feel like gold. When he doesn't, you feel like crap. He does transform more often than he does not in this particular shell. He is good in High Evolutionary. Nebula can be Shocker, Hydra Bob, Iceman, sort of whatever good card you would like to. You can also throw Shocker into that Bruce replacement category. All right, so shockingly, this one, an Infinity Border. Turn 1, you want Nebula over other ones. Turn 2, you want Bruce or ones, and then you can do the sort of off-curve play. If you want to go Nebula into like a Misty or a Sunspot, then you go Bruce on 3, Cyclops on 4, Magic on 5 with another 1-drop, Misty, Sunspot. Pass on 6, and you see how you've now played Bruce on 3 with the chance to play. You played a 3 on 4 with the chance for the extra energy, a 3 on 5 with the chance for the extra energy. You're passing 6. That's now 4 turns of potential Bruce changing. In fact, if you pass on 6, what you've actually accomplished is you can play Hulk or Red Hulk with She-Hulk. Then you have, guess what? 1 extra energy. That's going to trigger your Cyclops. That's going to work for your Bruce. That's going to work for your Misty Knight. Cool. So this is a very cool list. It's really, really interesting that Bruce ended up able to be powerful exactly in the shell that we thought he'd be in, and has fundamentally disappeared otherwise. But this is still a very good list. It's really underrated and slept on. Owie did win an Infinity Border with it. We're going to look at the top player thoughts for Rocket and Groot now. Rocket and Groot is the new card that released this week. It's a 3/3. When your opponent plays a card on its location, it sucks 1 power off, it steals 1 power from it, and gains that power. So it's a 2-power swing whenever an opponent plays on it, and it can move once. Abra, top 20 player in Marvel Snap, says Rocket and Groot is a decent 3-cost card that's easy to replace with other good or better 3 costs. Abra is not terribly impressed. Morem, another top 20 player, says Rocket and Groot is a solid card, not as strong as everyone says, in my opinion. He's a good 3, but getting countered completely by Luke Cage and being reliant on your opponent playing on him makes him a lot worse. That's sort of what the move is for, and it's worth noting that right now Rocket and Groot is bugged. If your opponent plays Luke, Rocket will not gain a power, nothing will happen, which is a huge, huge, huge difference, right? That is, however, confirmed by Glenn Jones to be a bug and should be updated. BBAK says this feels like an early Nocturne, a card worth including when you're wondering which 3-cost card to include. So BBAK, who's the number 1 player in February, number 2 several other times, has almost the opposite opinion of the first two. BBAK thinks this is as good as Early Nocturne. Early Nocturne was arguably the best card in Marvel Snap. So you see the contrast here. Nithiel says Rocket and Groot seems to be in almost everything just a solid good card. So Nithiel is leaning closer to BBAK, but somewhere in the middle. Safety is right with BBAK. WTF were they doing the day they made this one? Reclining hammocks? More of a Reddit Theorycraft card than anything trying to be balanced. You have to have a reason not to not run it, which is what Nocturne used to be. Again, there is a clear division here. Toxic Soul King, another one of our favorite players. He's top 50 now. He and I both had a little downturn recently, but Toxic Soul King says hard to tell with so much cage, but seems like a slightly worse Copycat. Copycat is currently the best in slot 3, so if it's only slightly worse than Copycat, this is a card worth owning. If you have Spotlight Keys, this is important. If you have Spotlight Keys and not tokens and don't own Copycat, then Rocket might be worth going out of your way to get. Comies, an Italian player, current Marvel Snap World Champion, says a classic good card, especially for Wiccan Ajax, a better version of Nocturne. Well, okay, so new Nocturne is kind of bad, right? Without the power. So better than Nocturne is not necessarily the like shout out, but a good card for Wiccan Ajax. That's a really strong list, and getting another card might push it over the edge. Jimmy Dickens says, I don't like the Rock and Groot, don't gain any power. Luke's on board. Again, that's a bug. But otherwise, he's pretty neat. Not as strong as everyone's saying, I think, at least with Luke prevalence, but otherwise a pretty solid card. Sizer says, amazing card, really good, like a 3-cost vision, basically power grip vision. Yeah, I've been saying that too. Yeah, this is basically vision. Like any deck where you need a 3-on-3, or you would be running vision, you just can replace it with Rock and Groot. W says, great, but it's touching for that spot now. The 3 spot is so loaded. That all makes sense to me. So Rocket and Groot is, outside of the first couple of people, something people think is somewhere from good to amazing. Is it worth your keys? It depends what other 3s you have. There's a lot of good 3s. This is a card that is not necessarily, at least as of now, best in slot, right? If you own Copycat and Red Guardian, you're often not going to be able to play all 3, and you can use Nocturne as an extra spot for one of those. So if you have other good 3s, you can probably skip this. But if you need to fill out your curve and you're missing things to do on 3, if every time I feature a deck that has 3 drops, you don't have that card, then Rocket and Groot is probably worth grabbing. Next up, we have Crazy's Tryhard. This is, a deck from FAK Crazy, a former 2-time #1 player on the Infinite Leaderboard. He created this version, or altered into this version, of a Wiccan Fenris Wolf deck. Really cool list. Ends up running Shang and Enchantress, which we haven't seen in a list in a really long time, and I wanted to make sure I featured it because of that. This is also, once more, a Rocket and Groot list. You see how it's just generically good as a 3-drop in all these shells. You can find Crazy at twitch.tv/crazymsnap. This deck needs Zabu, Wiccan, and Alive. Fenris, Kate, and Valentina can be Cable and Mirage. I do think you need. I do think you actually do. Oh, sorry, or Penny Parker. I think you need. Unless you have Cable, Mirage, and Penny, and not Fenris, Kate, and Valentina, I think you're going to need one of Fenris, Kate, or Valentina. This deck, Rocket Groot is good. Gladiator is good. Negasonic and Coulson are fine. Negasonic is the clear Gladiator replacement if you do have Fenris Wolf. Coulson is just a nice 3-drop. Unfortunately, there are very few 3-drops on 3 that you want to play in Marvel Snap right now. So outside of Series 4 and 5, almost every good 3-on-3 is a Series 4 or 5 card, which creates some problems. It's why I think that like a Copycat type card ends up often being better than Sage, because there is a good 3-on-6 that's not Sage. That card's name is Juggernaut, right? But there are very few in Series 3 good 3s that you want to play on turn 3. If you don't have Gore, you can play Magneto or Red Hulk. Gore is probably better for this list, but not significantly. This list has already gotten 2 borders. It is... Oh, I forgot Ika. My bad. It is... Riku and Crazy both got borders with this list. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Quicksilver. Turn 2, Kate if you need a 1 over Fenris over Valentina. Turn 3, Wiccan over Gladiator, which is more or less equal to Rocket and Groot. Depends what you have. If you've got Fenris, you want Gladiator. If not, Rocket and Groot's fine. Turn 4, if you've got Wiccan, Wiccan. If not, you're going to make a turn 3 play. And you do have an extra 1 thanks to the Zabu Quicksilver thing. Turn 5, if you can play Gore or Goliath, that's great. If not, ideally, Shang or Enchantress costs 3, and you play one of them with a 2. Then turn 6, Gore or Goliath. Cool. And we're going to finish up with one more Lasher deck, and this one's going to be extremely cool. But one last look at Crazy's Try Hard. Before we get there, though, if you'd like to see some streams with these decks, check out the Stream Team It's Friday, so from 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern, the Pirate King Tuccrr will be streaming these lists. The King of Canada will have a cool video up with yesterday's decks too, if you're interested. Also tomorrow morning, FaThorNewman will be reviewing the whole week full of decks on his Twitch stream. All right. Look, there's Ika's name. Sorry. All right, so we got our top player thoughts for Lasher. I know Lasher is not a totally new card, but it is a card that almost everyone's going to get from High Voltage, and I thought it would be worthwhile getting some perspective on him. So Aber says Lasher feels like a weak card, probably worse Scorpion in most cases. And I think that's a really interesting take. Lasher can represent a lot more power than Scorpion almost ever does, but he takes a lot more work than Scorpion. Scorpion's a set and forget, while Lasher takes work. Morem says Lasher is way stronger, than Eitri for a free card and seems good with the Namora Penny decks. Agreed. Namora and Penny absolutely love it. Penny with Lasher is a nightmare to plan around. That's a floating 10 power. Floating 10 power, as anyone who's played a Vision knows, is a lot. BBAK says it seems like they're giving out week free cards these days. Okay, fair enough. Safety says it's limited mainly due to opportunity cost. Lots of fun ways to play the card and not a bad generic 2-drop, but outclassed. Makes buff cards much better, but all the buff decks are often outclassed by Surfer, because Surfer runs a lot of the buff cards, but also has the power of Surfer. Ekmati says, great combo with Nebula, might be the new Bob. Might be the new Bob copycat, let's see. So, interestingly, and I really like that take, wait. I have the Ekmati thing reversed. That's what Ekmati said about the other card. Shh, ignore me. Next up. Toxic Soul King. Good synergy piece with Galacta, better than Eitri. Comey says this is a great card for buff deck, but not for Affliction. Cool. I think that's an important note. People are going to try running this with Ajax, and Ajax decks don't really want to buff their own cards. They want to negate opponent cards. You want this to be in a deck where you buff your own cards. Ika says this is a quiet entry into the meta, but it will have a home. Good card. Yeah, that's basically where I land. I think I actually agree with Ika here. Dickens says I like Lasher a lot. Definitely second best free card. I get to use him after Cassandra Nova, by the way. I get to use him and Scarlet Spider in a deck, so I'm happy. He can legit solo lanes if you get him moderately big too. Same Luke Cage issue as the previous card. Luke is going to be a major meta card for the next little bit, given all these cards coming out. But even with that said, Lasher is still a very good card and one worth looking around for, one worth considering and running if you can figure out the right decks for him. And BBAK won an Infinity Border with this unbelievably cool deck. This is my favorite deck of the day, I'm not going to lie, because it runs a bunch of really, really wild cards. I am going to say, however, be careful not to put Symbiote Spider-Man on Lasher. Activates contrast with each other. We know that because you can't Symbiote Spider-Man on Scarlet Spider and then activate Scarlet Spider. You get one activate per card, and the Symbiote Spider-Man will use it up by activating. So don't try that. However, everything else about this list is wildly, wildly cool. All right, you can find BBAK Snap at twitter.com/BBAK Snap. Again, number 1 player in February on the Infinite Leaderboard. This deck needs Zabu, Galactus, Symbiote, and more. Hydrobob can be Iceman or Agony. Lasher, or Jeff can be Psylocke, Green Goblin, or ones. Rocket Groot can be Nocturne, and Iron Lad can be Gwenpool. You basically want movers so that you can confuse where you're planning on Galactusing. This is another Infinite Border deck. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Nightcrawler over Bob. Turn 2 is Jeff over Lasher, and you're only really playing Lasher early if you have no more. If not, you're going to save it for a Galacta target. Turn 3, if you can get Galacta out or Symbiote out, you're in heaven. Sometimes you'll want to get Lad over Symbiote, depends what you have. Sometimes that's going to hit Galactus, which is hilarious, and those are better than Rocket. Turn 4 is the same as 3. You play Captain Marvel if you got Galacta out or you have Namora to put on her. Turn 5, Namora or get out 4s. And then turn 6 is drop everything you can. You can just straight up play a bunch of cards if you play Namora on 5. Or you can just play Namora on 6. Or you can drop Galactus. And ideally, if you're dropping Galactus, you're dropping it on a Symbiote or with a Galacta buff to make sure it goes off. This list is awesome. This is probably the coolest Galactus list I've seen in ages. I really, really, really like the mini combos. I really wish they would fix the double activate thing. But outside of that, this is a beautiful, beautiful list. Questions of the day. Zandal asks my top 5 deck builders in Marvel Snap. So the top five best and top five favorite are probably a different answer. For example, Safety Blade has decks that I know a ton of people that have a massive amount of success with. I'm not as good with safety decks as I am with decks for many others. For example, I am significantly better with Ika decks as a general rule than safety decks. Derek lists often speak to me. If Derek releases a list, I know I'm paying attention to it. It's one of the best. I'm very good with W lists, but he tends to play sort of bigger decks that I don't really enjoy, but he's one of the best and most important deck builders in Marvel Snap. I was always very, very fond of Yowadi MJ lists. His Surfer lists, his mid-range lists were really how I like to play Marvel Snap. However, he seemingly no longer plays. Husky is an incredible deck builder. However, I tend not to like his playstyle. His decks don't really speak to me, don't really work for me. Both Den and Scott Denham. Den is the head writer at Marvel Snap Zone. Scott Denham is the head writer at SnapFan. Are excellent deck builders. Again, neither one of their deck types are especially great for me. Who else am I forgetting? I've been really enjoying Toxic Soul King's brews lately, although he's playing a lot of Stefan's decks as well. Um, yeah. Oh, and I really enjoy people sleep on him. I really enjoy space decks too. Cool. Dragono, I don't know if that was 5 or like 10. And there's 1,000% because I did that off the top of my head, people I forgot. But, feel free to let me know in the comments who I forgot. Some people are going to say people who sort of aren't really deck builders, but a lot of people don't always do deck credits. So it feels like people um, don't understand that just because they featured a deck in a video, they didn't necessarily make it themselves. And I think that's an important distinction. That's part of why we do deck credits. I don't want to make it seem like I'm the genius who made all these decks, right? And I wish other people would share more because I think sharing credit when people accomplish things and you didn't is important. All right. So Dragono asks what I did for New Year's. So New Year's Eve, um, I did I stream on New Year's Eve? Maybe I streamed it. No, I streamed the day before New Year's Eve. I don't remember when I streamed. Whatever. New Year's Eve, I went out to dinner with my wife, my son, and my son's friend and his parents. We had a lovely dinner. We got tapas and we ate an absolute crazy amount, had a couple drinks. And then we came home and we watched YouTube together as a family where we basically watched like song quizzes, songs throughout the 80s, 90s, guessed the lyrics, piano music and guessing like what video game it's from, that kind of thing for until like 5 minutes before New Year's Eve. We New Year's Eve happened. We all kissed. We went to bed. Yada yada. And then I downloaded like an hour before New Year's Balatro. And then when everyone went to bed, I played Balatro for a little bit too long. I might have gotten addicted. Woke up New Year's Day together, hung out, and we decided on New Year's Day to not leave the house. It was a no getting dressed day, so we laid around the house. I ordered a crap ton of food from an Italian place we like. Got a nice chicken cutlet club sandwich and an eggplant parm. My son got pizza. My wife got I don't know what the hell my wife got. She got a big salad and some soup and something else. Oh, and a calzone. And then we just ate all day, laid around, watched TV together, hung out. We're watching Gravity Falls with my son right now. He's really into it. He loves the show. We're on like episode 3 or 4 of season 2. If you are a series 3, and then I played all last night, um, which would be New Year's Day, I guess. It just feels longer ago. I played for way, way, way too long after my stream, Balatro until, oh, that's upstairs. Okay. I played Balatro until like 4 in the morning, and then I closed my eyes and I couldn't stop seeing the Balatro. So, I beat all of the first level, the like non-red dot thing, and then I beat the first red dot thing, and I lost on the very last whatever, or right before I streamed, the very last trick, I don't know what they're called, of the one you unlock after you beat your first red dot one. So that's as far as I've gotten. I'd like to talk Balatro strategy, but I'll wait till someone asks me a question of the day before I do so. If you are then by the way, I went and played earlier today when I had a few hours free. I had like 2 hours free, and I fell from 46 to 105 because turns out when you sleep 3 hours, you're not very good at Marvel Snap. That's why my stream today didn't feature any Marvel Snap because I'm still exhausted and should go to sleep earlier instead of playing more Balatro. Good call. All right, so again, I'll finally get to what I was gonna say. Series 3 reminder: if you are a Series 3 player, if you are looking for decks, if you're looking for help, please join our Discord. There's a section where you can post your collection, and I will. It'll take time because it takes me like a half hour to an hour for each one, but I will build you a bunch of decks and suggest what to do with your collection. Cool. If you're interested, check out the Discord. It's linked in the description to this video. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to say thank you to a whole bunch of people. Thank you to Abigail Kiesland, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, who's always kind, the one and only FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I am Frostman Je Novelty, YOLO Potato, YOLO, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, who crushed it on stream yesterday. Thank you so much. Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Caretix Lee, the king of questions. Koi Ray. Oh no, I gotta do the Caretix Lee question. Alright, we're gonna do 2 videos tomorrow and I'll do the Caretix Lee one. Koi Ray, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, the Goat Seeker. What's up, Goatsy? Who got that Hulkling mission. Hollowed, Quid, Pro, Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle. Fat Nick, thank you for coming to the stream, by the way. Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, hey Racco, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus, XRSP, and Skippy G. Jessica Gamble, one more day, my friend. Tommy Nyquist, who won Snap Judgment League Season 1. The King of Bros, bro. The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, thank you for coming by the stream again, friend. KFC Hoda, Lunar Chris, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy McHugh, Q-Town, Clam, Colonel Forbin, thank you for hanging out this whole time, Forbin, Yistout, A Sage, one of our new friends, thank you so much, and welcome, Synth Snaps, thank you so much, Mod Supreme Models, Green Goblin, chilling with us as well is Unibot, Flan56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., another new friend. Oh my gosh, it's like it's a new year. Appreciate it. Only Fox, the Fuzzy Lump, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H, DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, who didn't stop by tonight, I don't believe, Mr. Craig Starry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Den, Man, Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, the great Lauren Whatevs, Cop Block 2, the Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. I'll see y'all tomorrow. 2 times. Hit that sub button by clicking that button in the middle of the screen. There's a great video for you to the right and left. Hit it. Peace.